All right, Razor. Well, Bruins are finally starting up, or should I say almost finally starting up. The NHL has started up on Tuesday night. You and I were talking the other day, and along with RC. And I think we said this to the folks in our last show that we would do another preview or another show this week to preview. And we said, let's do it Tuesday. Wednesday, I'm getting a little culture. I'm going to go see Rent with my daughter. I'm going to take Julia there. So I'm going to get a little more sophisticated. And so perfect night, Tuesday night, to do a season preview show. Welcome into Morning Brew with Jaffe and Razor. We're going to crush some stuff here, some all Bruins topics here, maybe some other things too, but we're going to run through this 30 minutes, get you set for the season, give you our opinions on things, and let you know what we think this Bruins season is going to look like. So with all that, let's welcome in Razor, who's got the funky headphones tonight. I love them. Those are electric blue headset you got working there, partner.
Looking
good.
I don't have a big head at all. I have a pea head, but these are stretching at best. They're definitely for 8-year-olds, but I'm going to make them do, and there's definitely no echo, so we're good.
Yes, we had to work on the
it's still preseason. Echo. Still preseason over here.
It is. RC yelling at us. Hey, echo going there. So
forgot about those.
It's like, you know what, Razor, you know what you look like? You look like the goalie who gets traded, and he's, the gloves and the leg pads are different colors than the rest of the team unit. But you got to wear them for 2 games until the new stuff gets in. But right. You look great.
Not even didn't even get traded. I just got put on waivers.
That's a perfect segue right there. Were you all right? So let's get right into it. That's what I do. Outstanding. Yeah. All right, waivers. John Moore, Chris Wagner, the other day get placed on waivers. Yeah. Again, let's bust through a bunch of things. Surprised, yes or no, with either of those moves?
No, because we didn't expect them to be on the opening night roster. Doesn't mean we're not going to see them again this season. Doesn't mean that they're banished from. A lot of guys go through waivers this week, and a lot of good players go through waivers because of salary cap issues, because other kids make the team that don't have to clear. Lots of different reasons why, and especially in a salary cap era. So not surprised that those 2 guys aren't in the opening night roster, and for that reason they had to deal with waivers.
So, John Moore has a bigger ticket than Chris Wagner does, like 275 to, I'm going to say it's 1.25, 1.3, something like that for Wags. I did think that some teams might consider John Moore, but he just hasn't played much. In his 3 years as a Bruin, he's played 90 games total. So that's just 30 a season. I know last year was a shortened season, but even that was worse for him. But here's a guy we know can skate. I think for now the Bruins are saying, look, we're thrilled to still have him because we know that he will be the first guy to fill in on the right side if need be, since they don't have a right shot defenseman after McAvoy, Carlo, and Clifton. So, in the one sense, I get why they tried to waive him. It allows them to send him down, free up some money, et cetera. But on the other hand, he's up with the team right now, and they'll keep him around, I think, for now, just for that extra demon. They also have Jakub Zboril up there too, so they're carrying 8 for now. I think they're afraid to send Zboril through. I do. I also think they're afraid to send Anton Bleed through.
Yeah, they must have some intel that those guys are wanted and could, and so you let the season start and hope that teams that might want him find that piece within their own organization, don't need to pick a guy like that up because, and yes, certainly Zboril would be much more enticing for a team to pick up a guy like on waivers. Typically waivers isn't a place where you pick up a veteran guy who's making a lot of money. It's where you pick up the kid who's making 800, 900, who you think you have some upside to. So yeah, that it does make sense that they're going to try and keep those guys around, and you try and slide them through on a late Friday afternoon or a Saturday night when no one's paying attention.
Yeah. So you get guys now with an opportunity. Carson Kuhlman. Let's talk about, we'll call it not taking Wagner's spot, but getting into that spot right there. I like Carson Kuhlman. To me, he's a new age 4th liner. Doesn't hit that much, but yet I think he needs to be more physical. He doesn't score that much, yet you know what? I think he needs to score a few more goals to stay in that spot. I do. I mean, when I say I think he's a new age 4th liner, it's the motion, it's the motor, it's the speed, the direct line speed. Like any younger player, though, consistency is always an issue. But I think they want to give him this opportunity to see if he can generate that. But if he doesn't get a little more physical, and if he doesn't finish a little bit more, I'm not looking. Wagner had 12 goals his first full year as a Bruin. That was an awesome year, and he won the 7th player award, right, for Ness and everything. But I don't need 12 from Carson Coleman, but I need 7 or 8. I do. I think I need 7 or 8 out of him, Razor, to be impactful.
I agree. And the chances he creates, or the chances he's gotten in the last 18 months and not been able to score, that's just as discerning for me. And that's been my big thing with Carson, is that yes, he creates, yes, he gets to a spot, yes, he skates really well, but his lack of touch to finish is frustrating. And as a coaching staff, I can only imagine sitting there watching the opportunities that he's been able to have especially last season, and not bury, and not get pucks on net, missing nets. So those are the things. Listen, he's going to play with a better centerman, a more offensively gifted centerman in Nosek. He's going to have Frederick being able to bang a little bit more in the corners for him. So yeah, he's going to be relied on if he has an open net to hit the net with it, and that's going to be what he needs to really pick up from last season.
Yeah, and I know it's an easy comment sitting here via sitting in the locker room. I understand there's a huge difference, and we've been there. But at times it's also like he needs to just say, I need to run with this opportunity. There's pressure, no question about it. Part of being a pro athlete is dealing with that pressure, but he needs to run with this. He's going to be pushed. Somebody's going to definitely push him, but he needs to run with this and say, I need to do more. This 4th line has to be better for this team. It's been too long now, for the last 2 seasons, whether they're full or not, we could argue, but last 2 seasons, 4th line has been nowhere near as impactful, both defensively and offensively, Razor. 3 years ago, it was. Last 2 seasons.
No question.
It hasn't been.
No question. And Koolman, to that point, he's been around a few years now. I'm sure he recognizes how lucky he is to get this opportunity again. It could have very easily have never had a chance to play in a home opener ever again. So he certainly doesn't have a long leash, and he needs to recognize if he wants to continue at this level, then you got to make hay now. Yeah.
This 4th line to me is interesting, very interesting. Nosek, and I don't have the numbers in front of me, so forgive me, but I know his shooting percentage was career high last year when he put up some numbers. He's not a big offensive guy, but he had a career year at doing that. Can he reach those levels again, shooting percentage? Well, I don't know. It doesn't. Usually the trend is to, kind of go back to the regress, so to speak.
Yeah, it's a median,
exactly. Let's see. Let's see what happens there. Because Frederick has not performed well. Coolman has to step up. I haven't minded him in camp, though. Nosek, well, let's see if he brings it back to last year's level like he saw in Vegas. That would be nice. Now we'll work our way up the lineup. The 3rd line. Can Jake DeBrusk return to 15 goals this year? Not even 20. Can he return to 15, Razor?
Yes, he's going to return to 15.
Will he return to 20?
Yes. I say he's getting 22.
Okay. If he gets 22,
missed a few games.
All right. Mm-hmm. So 22 goals in theory, or in Razor's world. That means that Haula and Foligno, at least we think those guys. I would think that if Jake DeBrusk is going to get 20-plus goals, that means that Eric Haula is going to get you 40-plus points. We talked in our last episode that he's only been a 50-plus point guy once. I don't need 50. I'd love 50-plus points from Haula this time, but I'll take 40 to 45. I will. I'd be freaking ecstatic if that happens, because that means that Foligno probably is in the 30s again with points.
Yep.
By the way, Nick Foligno, and I knew this, but I bumped into him the other day. The guy is a freaking bull. I mean, he is. It's like looks like he's wearing big shoulder pads on the ice. I'm going to tell you something. He's just got big freaking shoulders. They're huge. Yeah. He's not like giant tall, but he's solid size. What, 6 foot, 6'1"? But he is thick, and he is an absolute. He's granite. I mean, the guy he's just a thick man. So I'm hoping that translates into banging some bodies for this team. But anyways, that line, if the Bruins are going to be successful.
Billy, he's from Sudbury, Ontario, so he's actually nickel, not granite. For any of the Canadian people, the big nickel.
The big nickel, you're right. So Nick is nickel.
So he's Nick. Nick is nickel. But yes, he's got some good genes. The old man, he's got old man strength. Yeah,
and his younger brother, is a large man. Actually,
he's even bigger. Yeah,
Marcus got the size. He got the height too. It was about 6'3", 6'4". But he's so excited to be here. I talked to him about it quickly. Thrilled with the way that the team is run, with how Bergie and Marshy talks about, makes everything just so right in the room. I mean, this is coming from a guy who was a captain for years himself. He admits that not, to be a de facto leader, not having to be the leader, he thinks will be very good for him too. It just gives him that little bit of, hey, I can go out and play. I can do certain things. Mm-hmm. And he loves it so far.
Taylor Hall as well.
Yeah. Exactly.
Great. Yeah.
He loves it.
I like that third line. I have a lot of, I really liked Hall. I like what he brings for Jake DeBrusk. And I like what Foligno brings for those two guys. So I'm very bullish on the third line.
I'm going to take the under on those 22 goals. I hope I am wrong. I hope I am so wrong about Jake. I am rooting for 30. I am. I'm going to pick 15 to 18. That's what I'm going to go with. I'm going to take the under, and I hope I'm wrong. And I hope you can tell me with rose-colored headphones on in 8 months.
Listen, the reality is. And 15 to 18 goals on the third line, playing third line minutes, will be very, very good too. So
yeah.
I'm just being ecstatic over Jake.
Well, Jake should get some power play time. Foligno will get some penalty kill time. Howla will get penalty kill time. Actually, Foligno will probably get more power play, second unit power play time. So you're utilizing your lineup. Let's keep working up. Coyle, Hall, and Smith. Now, David Krejci was good basically for just 3/4 of a point a game, basically. In an 82-game season, we would figure 55, 60 points, right? I mean, that's regular. We're talking on average. Can Charlie Coyle, can he get to 45 points this year? I'd love him to get to 50, but can he get to 45 with Hall and Smith?
He can get there if Hall's driving the line, and those are great breakout passes to Hall, and Hall goes down the wing and scores. Great breakout plays, getting out of the zone. But yes, he can as a second line center. You listen, in this division, you're going to need him to get 45 points. If he's going to be your second line center and you're going to compete and you're going to be able to score enough goals in this division, I think you're going to need him to get 45 points to be able to be at the top level, because a few of the other teams, their second line centers are definitely getting 45 points.
Yeah. So will this team be successful if their second line center, whomever it ends up being, doesn't break 45 points? I'll even say 40 points. What if he doesn't get 40 points? Is this team going to be okay?
The only way you get through the regular season, and that's the case, is if that first line stays healthy and they all get 100 points again.
Yeah.
But I'm not expecting that. Once we get to that top line, I'm not putting. I think they've gone out and got the pieces that they've gotten to release the pressure off those top guys to have to do all of the scoring. So that's where I'm looking at. That second line center needs to get 45 points. Hall needs to get 50 or 60 points. That's what they paid him to be on that left wing. He needs to drive that and needs to be the top point getter there.
Yeah, Hall was just under a point a game regular season. Remember when he came to the Bruins last year from Buffalo? I look at him. I don't look at him as an 80-point guy. I wish he was. I wish he was back to that MVP. But I'll take 60 points, and then again, I'd be freaking thrilled. Now, Craig Smith, give me another 20-goal season. Give me 2020, 2018, 2020 type of thing. My big question mark is the man in the middle. So if it's not Coyle, does it become Studnicka? Can you ham and egg it? Can you 1A, 1B it throughout the season and get a combined 45, 50 points between those two guys and work it that way? That's maybe what you end up getting.
Yeah, and I wouldn't Yeah, and I bet we see Hall up there too with his speed and his pace. I bet we see him a little bit on that second line. And listen, is Patrice Bergeron playing 82 games this season for this team
Well, probably
with
not.
an Olympic year?
Yeah, probably
He's
not.
just not. So then,
No.
guys are going to move up there too. Who's stepping into that? That's a big question mark for me. Is who's going to be the number one? Because it was easy. Krejci went there, and Krejci
Right.
got more points.
Right.
That was his thing. Like that was easy. So who's that guy this year? And that's where you talk about Studnicka and Coyle, maybe because again, I just don't. Patrice is Superman to me, but he's not playing 82 games this season and going to Beijing on top of it all.
Right, for 17 days and isolating when they're there and all that stuff, and all those games, and again, they've got no games to begin, and then 15 games in like 28 or 29 days to end. It's just going to be an absolute pig pile, to borrow a term from a buddy of mine. All right, speaking of top line, let's talk numbers quickly there. Marchand break 100 points again? You think he does?
Yeah.
I agree.
Yeah.
Okay. We're in agreement on that.
Yeah.
Pastrnak hit 50 goals.
No, not 50. Mid-high 40s.
Yeah. Another
50's
47.
a lot.
It is.
Yeah. 50's a lot.
So I said on NHL Network the other day, they asked for a bold prediction. And I said, for the first time since the 09-10 season, that we're going to have 3 50-goal scorers this year.
Matthews?
Yeah, no, he's going to miss 1 or 2 games to begin the year with the wrist, but I still think he'll be one.
McDavid?
I think Draisaitl will be the second one. And now the question for the third is it McDavid? Is it Pastrnak? Is it that guy named Ovechkin? Could it be, how about Kucherov if he has a full healthy season and the give a shit level is up there, right? Could it be Alex DeBrincat? That's another guy. So I think we have 3 of them. Yeah. I think Pastrnak will challenge, but I agree with you. I don't think he gets 50. I think he's 45, 46 in there.
Yeah.
Over under on Patrice Bergeron's games. You brought that up, so it's a good one. Does he hit the 70 mark?
No. I don't see it. I don't see him hitting 70, especially if he's in the mix for the Olympics, which it seems like everyone in Canada is talking like he's going to be there. He's basically one of the lock guys that I don't think he gets to 70, especially if the Bruins are good and not fighting for their lives to get into the playoffs. Yeah. You're going to find rest days, which I expect them to be able to dictate scheduling like that. So I put Patrice at a 68 games.
Okay. I can kind of dig that. I can kind of get on board with that high 60s for him. And I could still see him scoring 50 points, though. I can. Maybe even.
I mean, that power play, the power play is going to get a lot of points. Just
right. Okay. All right. Let's slide back to the defense. We'll start with Chucky Norris, with Charlie McAvoy. And I think that, I know last year was a bit of a breakthrough or breakout year for him. He had his most points per game average, 51 games. He had 5 goals, 25 assists for 30 points. His previous high was 2 seasons of 32 points, Razor, but both of those happened in 60-plus games, 63 and 67. So if he can get to 80 games, if Charlie can, stay healthy and get to 80, does McAvoy hit that 40, 45-point mark? I got to think he does. I mean, if power play time galore, 5-on-5 time galore. I mean, it's his team. It's his show. I can't imagine anything less than 40. I'm thinking more between 45 and 50. I would love to see.
Yeah, I'm pushing 45 just because of that power play time is going to put him over. The same reason why Patrice is going to get to that number. That power play is just going to add a lot of points for whoever's on the first unit. And if that's McAvoy for 1 minute and 20 every single time, they're just going to find a way. So, listen, if he's going to want to make $10 million a year, he's going to have to get 40, 45 points too, because you're not paying that kind of money for anything less than that.
Yeah, I think this is going to be a great challenge year for him. Last year, he averaged a career high 24 minutes. I see him averaging a little bit. I mean, little more than that, maybe not too much more, because Bruce doesn't love to overwork his guys. But I think Charlie's going to command big minutes. We know that he's going to kind of go back and forth between Forbort and potentially Grzelcyk, depending on situation right there. I still haven't seen enough of Derek Forbort to make a real educated opinion on him. I think that he is I'm going to call him a situational pair guy, which is exactly what we've been talking about before. Bruce has talked about too. His mobility is fine. He's a big man, but I wouldn't say that he is a guy that's going to crush you, or, it's not like certain shutdown. He's a nice, really nice defender that has really good positioning, long stick, big body, and hopefully he pairs well with McAvoy, especially if they're top pair guy.
Yeah, just he's long. He's skilled enough to get around the ice. He's been around long enough to understand the game, to understand positioning, to be able to pick up the Bruins structure quick enough and how they want to play, how they want their defensemen to play. So, I to your point, not a lot of minutes. He's one of those guys that will know what he is when they go into Toronto on Saturday night, hockey night in Canada, and he's matched up against Austin Matthews every night, and Kucherov and Barkov. And it's going to take a little bit of while to really put a grade and see where he's actually at. But he's long and he's big and he's strong, and he's certainly going to help the penalty kill, and he's going to certainly help in the defensive end.
Speaking of long, Brandon Carlo, 6'5", new Papa, paired with Mike Riley to begin. It looks like that's the pair. They played some together last year too. Would you call that grade A second pair? B plus, B? Where do you see that in the sense that they're much more? I mean, you've got I like the balance of much more offensive-ish type guy, a guy who pinches, a guy who works, maneuvers well, and then a straight up type of guy in Carlo. They're going to see some big minutes against some second line guy. And in fact, I got news for you, bud. As you know, going on the road into Toronto, they may end up seeing more of the first line as the second pair, than Charlie McAvoy and Forbort would.
No question. That's right. And I like the mix. I thought they played well together when Carlo was healthy last year. I think Riley's they're both smart enough players to play off of each other. Riley's certainly more offensive, and Carlo's happy to defer that, which he's talked about, is shooting the puck more and getting a little bit more offensive himself. But he does defer. You are what you are to a certain point. And I like the second pairing. I think it's not big and bruising like some other second pairings, but I think they can get the job defensively done.
All right, but that leads me then to this. I was going to say something else, and hopefully I won't forget, but I want to ask you this first. Because the first pair is big, they're bruised. But Forbort's not. I wouldn't call him a bruiser. He's not going to crush you. He's going to contain you, right? I mean, he's going to. Now McAvoy is pound for pound is their best hitter. Connor Clifton can be very, very strong physically, but Charlie McAvoy is a fantastic body checker. So to the Bruins, and I think I asked you this last week, but I'm going to do it again. Because that second pair is not very physical, and Grzelcyk's not very physical either. Do they have enough physical presence on the back end when it's all said and done? I'm still, my biggest concern for this team is that.
Yeah, it for me as well, and it's more. It's not so much the first two pairings; it's the fifth and sixth. And yes, Clifton can use the body, and he hits sometimes, and he's physical and he's aggressive, but he's not big. The reality, it's not like he's 6'4" as Zach Bogosian or these guys that the top teams have on their fifth and sixth pairing, or their third pairing, I should say. That's where if you had the top four guys for the Bruins and then had two 6'4", 200-pound guys that could just skate up and down in big long sticks, then I'm saying they're physical enough. They're good enough. With the pairing with Grzelcyk and Clifton as your third pairing, that's where the concern is, I think, with the physicality part of the game and playing 82 games with those guys. That's where it concerns me.
Yeah, I'm with you, bud. I'm absolutely with you on that. And it needs to be addressed. And even guys waiting to come in, John Moore, Jakub Zboril, neither of those guys that are going to come in for 3 to 5 games and start hammering away at people. It's all
It's
about
not going to be any
skating.
different.
No,
Mm-hmm.
no. Okay, so we agree on that. Goaltending, do we agree? Swayman should start. Do we agree? Yes or no?
It's going to be interesting. I don't completely agree, or he was definitely better in preseason. He's definitely going to have a great career. As upside, I love the kid. He's awesome. He's a great goaltender. He's every time he's been challenged, whether it's college, last season in Providence, NHL, he's hitting all his marks as a young goalie. To start home opener, it doesn't hurt him not to play that game. If Allmark jumps in there, he's the guy they signed in the offseason. I'm still from a place where that would be Allmark's job automatically. As soon as he signs that deal, that's an Allmark home opener. He plays the first game, maybe he plays the second game, and then you roll Swayman in behind him. If Allmark doesn't play great, then Swayman has a great opportunity to be the hero. If Allmark does play great, Swayman has no pressure because they're already 2-0 on the season, and he can just get his game going. So there is something to be said for that. And allowing the veteran guy, and Allmark's not Tuukka Rask veteran, but he's still the veteran guy in this pairing to go out and take the home opener. Let Swayman come in on the second, third game in behind it. So I'm not completely convinced that it's definitely Swayman, and I certainly think they're going to what's Cassie's word, toggle back and forth. He's going to toggle the goaltenders more than he's toggled lines up front this season, or at least in the first month and a half.
Yeah. The goaltender thing's interesting. I was at practice on Tuesday. If you really want to read into things way too much with no significance whatsoever, Swayman was in the net that Tuukka Rask would normally be in, the far end, we'll call it, of the ice, the western side. And Ullmark was in the eastern net at Warrior Arena. I don't think it means crap, quite honestly. But I haven't had a chance to talk to Butch. Haven't had a chance to see goalie Bob, talk to him, or any of the other guys. And I'm not, I don't even have a gut, except I just think when it's all said and done, I don't know. I mean, if you say to Swaim, if you say to Ullmark, I mean, listen, we love you, and we're still thrilled that you're here, but we're going to go with Swayman based on, this just where is that for opening night? I don't know. I understand there's protocol, but it's very different nowadays in the NHL, Razor. And I get the respect for the elders, so to speak. However, I'm still my way is leaning towards Swayman, but I'm not telling you that's the way the Bruins are leaning, because I have no idea.
I have no idea either. I have zero. Sometimes you make phone calls, and this didn't seem like a time to do that. It seemed really early in the season.
I agree.
To call it, but we're going to find out whether how much of a meritocracy this goaltending situation is going to be, and how much Linus Ullmark was promised when he signed that deal in July. Because again, you do have to make promises as teams when other teams want you as a goaltender and as a player.
Do you seriously think? Do you seriously think they would say to him, "You're going to start opening night"? I'm not. Go ahead.
Not specifically, but when you sign that deal, it is that I played when I was in Toronto. We signed Vesa Toskala after my first year there, and he was very, very, very unhappy that I was playing the home opener and not him after signing a deal that next year. So there is some of that there, and it's one of those things where that's an initial big shot to the guy who just signed a 4-year, $20 million deal. So
did Vesa ever recover? Did he ever recover from that?
Barely, but barely. I mean, none of us recovered that season. It was a tough one, and neither one of us, I should say. But but no, you can certainly recover. Liz, I'm just saying it'll be interesting if Swayman plays, then it's going to be a meritocracy. They're going with the guy who is playing well, ready to go. If Allmark doesn't, then they have a plan in place for both Swayman and Allmark. So it's going to be an interesting take. And to your point, both of them, either of them are going to recover. It's not the end of the world. This is going to go away by game 3 or 4. We're going to forget who even played the home opener. Mm-hmm. And that also does happen because there's so much build up to it. But we'll have a pretty good idea of what they think of and how they're going to play the goaltenders, at least for the first month, based on the decision.
Yeah, I agree. And I'm looking forward to that because this is the one thing. Everything else to me is set in the lineup.
Yep.
You know what it's all going to look like, except for this. So we'll find out on Friday.
And this is so different than anything certainly you've dealt with here in Boston for the time you've been here. It's locked and loaded. Who's going to be that guy? That number 40 is rolling over the boards, home opener. That there was no question. So that's the first time, it's very different. It's going to be very different how they do this.
I want to run quickly through the division on this season preview show. I think it's important to hit on it. Yep. We'll start from the bottom up. I mean, we don't really need to talk about Buffalo. We don't really need to talk about Detroit, albeit, though, I do think Stevie Y's got them on a better track. The Lucas Raymond kid, I think, is for real. What was the other kid's name? Moritz Seitzer, I think, or Seitzer. Forgive me, I don't have it in front. The defenseman, I think
the big D man,
the German, big D. Yeah,
they got Ned, the goalie.
They got Nedeljkovic, exactly. So they're building in the right direction, but we don't need to go there. Spend time. Ottawa, if they don't get Brady Tkachuk signed, same type thing. They're better, but I do think that they will give teams a bit of a fit. I do. I think the DJ Smith seems to be one of those guys that understands how to get through to players, and they really respect him. So I think he'll
play hard.
Yeah, they're going to play very hard. So after that, as we start working our way up, now we talk about the Montreal Canadiens. I think now without Price for at least another 25 days, without Shea Weber, who's out for the year, without Eric Stahl, who's older but a veteran player, Corey Perry gone, who gave him a lot of swagger. This is now Cole Caulfield and Nick Suzuki's team. Oh, let's also not forget that Philip Danault is gone too. He signed I thought a little bit too large of a contract in LA, but
God.
Yeah, like
crazy,
$2 million too much per year. But is Montreal are they a factor for now in the Atlantic? I'm not ready to say that they are. Especially without Carey Price. I mean, it screams. Look, Jake Allen's nice. He's a nice backup. I think it'd be a nice 1B. I just don't see it happening over 82.
Jake Allen's amazing behind Carey Price, but to your point, rolling him out and 30 days plus 20 days to really, before you even get close to Carey being ready, and then you're dealing with, 3 weeks to get up and running again from that. But again, I think Montreal's going to, you saw the Toffoli, the Anderson, those guys got a lot of experience. Those young kids got a lot of experience going on that run they did last year. They're going to be playing in front of full buildings in Canada. That's going to be something big up there. There's going to be a lot of emotion for the Canadian teams because they didn't get to experience it like they do down here. It's still different. So I'm not. I think they're going to push. The Canadians always beat Toronto. They always find a way to play Boston tough. I just think that I think they're going to be closer to a Toronto than Toronto's not running away with it in Canada or in Eastern Ontario this year. Eastern Canada.
Yeah, I'm not in love with Toronto at all. I'm a huge Marner fan. I love Austin Matthews. I respect the hell out of what he's done. I've known John Tavares since he was a baby in the NHL, since he was drafted first overall by the Islanders. And I do think the world of him too as a person and a player. But after all that, I mean, they got a few other guys too. I just don't see enough there. And I do not think that Peter Mrazek is the answer.
No, Jack Campbell certainly isn't either. No,
right.
No, so that's to that point. Like, I think Montreal's can push them. So I look at it as, you know, the Tampa, Florida, Boston, and then Montreal, Toronto as that second tier from those top three.
Mm-hmm. All right. So Boston now, I look at them as Boston as a third slot team, given that Tampa and Florida. Florida is the team du jour. They are the team of the now. I think that I do think that they are legitimately built for a run. I'm not ready to call them a Stanley Cup champ. I'm not, but I do think that that they have pieces in place. The fact that Ekblad is healthy, the fact that they kept Montour, the fact that now they have Spencer Knight to relieve Bobrovsky in that albatross of a contract, right? I mean, you know, they've got a happy Sasha Barkov at 80 million plus next year, you know, starting next year. And they've got Huberdeau and you go through their lineup and Reinhart. That might be the best pickup that they made. Reinhart, and now all of a sudden,
and a Holmquist, just a rock solid third line Nick Foligno type on that third, you know, like yes,
yep. And so Joe Quenneville now has been down there a couple of years. His system is ingrained in the guys. Everything. I think they're due for even though last year's people say maybe it was a bit of a breakout year, I would say no. This is going to be the real year that they do. I think they win the division. Tampa, to me, is the team that I'm really going to look for. Now, if somehow, some way, Julian Breezeball will make some kind of a deal at trade deadline or right around there that will help the team. He just will. They have stockpiled great young players, despite the fact that they regularly draft late first, if not even no first-round pick. They still have the best goalie in the world in Vasilevsky, the best defenseman, I think, in Victor Hedman, especially now that he has two healthy knees. You know, if he can keep healthy, he'll be all right. I don't think they win the division, though. I don't think they need to. I don't think they want to. I think they just want to play the right way. It's amazing how that big sweep when they lost to Columbus a couple of years ago changed everything for them. Everything.
That's exactly where I was going to go. They'd be happy to be a wild card. They're going to be. They've played so much hockey in the last 12 months, so much more than everybody else that I can see them being 500 all the way till Christmas. Just complete cruise control. Lose two, find, you know, all right, we're not losing 3 in a row tonight, fellas. Win that game. Then lose a couple more. All right, we're not losing 3 in a row. They're going to be on that pattern. I can see them being on that pattern, and that will there just won't be enough points by the end of the season for them to make a huge run, but at some point they'll win 10 in a row and comfortably get in the mix. But I agree. I don't see them winning the division. I don't see them caring to win the division in any way whatsoever. Yeah. Those guys are going to put it. And listen, they got, how many Olympians are they going to have as well? Between Hedman, Vasilevsky, Kucherov, Point, Stamkos won't make it, but
Chernak will be one. Chernak will, you know,
they're going to have 5 or 6 guys that are looking to that too, and all of those guys are younger guys that, like, you know, a Vasilevsky who's looking like I can win a medal for Russia. It's different. Kucherov, same way. Sergachev, he's going to be on that team. So with that as well, I think that adds to them. Just get to the playoffs and we'll beat everybody like we always do.
All right. I'm with you. I see the Bruins making the playoffs, assuming health of the lineup. We assume health for everybody. We hope health for everybody. If the Bruins stay relatively healthy, I do see them making the playoffs this year, but I see them as the 3 slot in the Atlantic Division. Do you agree with that?
I could see them push to 2 just because of Tampa. I could see them. I think they're better than Toronto. I think they're better than Montreal. I think the goaltending, the pressure of the goaltending for the Bruins puts them, you know, if it's good to great, then they get into that second place. If it's okay to good, then they're probably in that 3rd slot. But yes, I see them making the playoffs, but I think they can challenge that just because of what we just talked about Tampa.
Yeah. I need to be more convinced about the Bruins' defensive depth and their goaltending to elevate them to second slot. I don't really give a shit if they get a second or third, except for maybe home ice a little bit there, but I just want them to be healthy, get in when they get into the playoffs. And but I see them making it. So we both agree on that. Anything that you're really burning to talk about? Anything you're really looking forward to this season? Bruins related, not Bruins related? Anything to kind of big picture it, looking in as we start getting ready to wrap this one up?
I think for me, I just think we all forget what an 82 game season is. I think we're overlooking the marathon that this NHL season is. We've had two sprints essentially, being the bubble sprint and the COVID 56 game sprint that I think we're going to realize come December and January that we still have a long way to settle into this.
Yeah.
And so that's my big. It's not a burning question. It's just we're all very excited about it. I just think that it's going to be as hard as ever to predict and hard as ever to really recognize where all these teams are, because it's an 82 game season again. And we haven't had it in a while, and the players haven't had it. And a lot of these players are first, second year guys who've never even played an 82 game season.
Right. Or traveled. Or traveled all over.
Swayman,
yeah.
Who's gone to LA, they haven't even gone they haven't left their time zone. Jeremy Swayman hasn't played a game outside of his time zone.
Right.
As a professional. So what is this all going to mean? That's for me, that's the fascinating part. That's the exciting part is how this is all going to look once planes start flying across the country and teams start really getting into the season.
Who
figures it out?
Right. Who figures out? I get asked all the time. I'm assuming you do too. I just got asked tonight over at Buff's Pub, picking up some health food after practice. The guy's like, "Hey, excited for the season? You're all ready?" And I'm like,
extra large mac and cheese.
No, I don't go to. You're gonna laugh. I actually ordered a salad. I did a grilled chicken. God. But with a side of wings.
Just keep driving past Buffs if you're going to get.
No, the side of wings.
I mean, still, though.
I got the wings, and Jake got the burger. Jake loves their burgers there.
The burger's delicious.
But I answer the same way almost all the time. It's not that I hum and haw and I hedge. It's not that I'm not excited. It's that I just remember all the time, Razor, what you just referred to. This is an 82 game season, and even for us, I mean, my whole broadcasting world has been so weird the last 2 years now. And I'm like, we got a long way to go. And yeah, of course I'm excited to work, and I love hockey as more than anything as far as sports go, and it's my business. But I'm also like, holy smokes, we got a long marathon ahead of us. I mean, like ultra marathon ahead of us. And it's going to be different. So it's not that I'm not excited, folks. I just want to see how things happen. And we have a tendency as fans, which we both are, and we know that all of you are, to get so wrapped up in the moment and not look at the big picture. And so we're going to have to look at the big picture. And that's what I think we're going to do. At least that's what our plan is to do. And but the good news is we both think the Bruins make the playoffs. And after that, it's the old saying, who the hell knows what is going to happen. I have one little thing to add here, and it's only because I have it to my left. I have the Vegas-Seattle game going right now. And as we sit and record this, Vegas is already up 2-0 on Seattle. Seattle
stinks. They stink.
Opening shift, Seattle, by the way, had 2 great chances. And then like 2 minutes later, Vegas scores. But at ESPN, they've got the score bug, right? The upper left corner, the score bug.
Yeah. They
have Vegas. What would be the 3 letters that you would use for Vegas if in the hockey world? What would it? Seattle is SEA, Boston BOS, and
I mean VEG, right?
No, it's V. But they actually have VGS. And isn't in the hockey world, Vegas is the Vegas Golden Knights, VGK? We've seen VGK everywhere. I'm nitpicking right
should
now.
Be VGK.
It's VGK.
No, you are. You're taking on the mothership for sure. It should be VGK, yeah.
Yeah.
Or VEG.
I don't know, man. VEG is like
I like
vegan.
the graphic.
It's vegan.
Yeah.
It's like, it's, or I'm a vegetable.
It's vegetable.
Right.
Right, vegetable.
Yeah.
Right,
no,
vegetable.
It's VGK. Yeah. It's
like
VG.
your salad.
Right. I had the blackened chicken avocado salad. And if you're going to go to Buffs and you want to feel a little bit better about yourself, get it. It's excellent. And if you want to stay healthy, don't get the side of chicken wings, which I did, but I gave them to my kids too. All right.
Have to.
All right. So that's our season preview for the Boston Bruins, folks, here on Morning Brew with Jaffe and Razor. We got a ton more of stuff coming your way. We are going to do shows basically every couple of days. So on average, it will be 2 shows a week. There will be some weeks that we may hit 3. There might be 1 week or a few weeks where we only do 1, based on the game schedule and based on our availability. The great news is that Razor and I and RC, who looks, by the way, fully healed after he looked like Raging Bull, Robert De Niro and Raging Bull last week when we saw him. It looks like he's fully healed up, no swollen eyes or ears or anything. We can promote when the next show is going to be. That's the beauty of podcasting. So we will keep that. We will hopefully be having it promoted somewhere else too. We're working to finalize a little bit of a new product for you, a little new deal. And we'll just keep getting it out. But we can tell you this, after the home opener, Razor and I will sit down and get you your morning brew with Jaffe and Razor. So on Sunday, it will drop for you on October the 17th. In the meantime, before then, we got a couple of more sleeps until the Bruins open up their season Saturday night against the Dallas Stars, one of Razor's old teams, one of his old teams. A team, by the way, if we really want to do a super quick preview, I do think is going to be better than last year. Jamie Benn at center, Tyler Seguin healthy. The big question, who's going to be their goaltender? They've got 4 goaltenders right now. Did they? I didn't even look at their. I should have looked at their roster. I'll look at it tomorrow. If they
sent Ottinger down.
Okay.
They sent Ottinger down because he didn't have to do waivers. He's still on his first deal.
So is Bishop, though, on IR still? Is he off it?
Yeah, so they have – it's Hudobin and Holtby are the 2 guys.
Okay, so it'll be interesting. I think that this Dallas Stars –
they play Thursday night. So that's an advantage for them.
It is. They play Thursday in, I believe,
Rangers.
New York. Yep, they play New York. Then they play Boston. And how about this for a turnaround? Sunday, they play 5 o'clock game in Ottawa. Remember that 5 o'clock game in Ottawa they love to do? Oh, I hated those.
Goddamn nightmare. And that's exactly what we're talking about, how the schedule is much different than we've seen in a couple of years. We forget about how brutal that is to have to go to folks. Going to Ottawa, you customs in Canada. You drive an hour from the airport. It's literally like Dallas doesn't get in until 2 a.m. by the time they do everything Saturday night and then have to play at 5 p.m. It's a nightmare.
Yeah, your first week of games. Hey, welcome to a 5 o'clock start, which means you're at the rink at 3, which means you're on the bus at 2 from Chateau Laurier or maybe they're saying the Brook Street out there.
The Brook Street, which is even worse. So you're going New York City, Boston, Massachusetts, and then Canada. What a letdown.
Right.
Hammer Ottawa on that one.
Well, yeah, or Ottawa hammers them if they end up, So we will end up anyways, we're going to be doing a show after that first game, so we'll have it for you. And we'll be taking your questions, doing a bunch of fun stuff. But that's going to wrap things up. The season preview here on Morning Brew with Jaffe and Razor. We will talk with you after Saturday's game, home opener, season opener for your Boston Bruins against the Dallas Stars.